What's up, Chad? Apparently, I forgot to hit the stream button on the stream. My bad. I've been sitting here talking, but yeah, we're live. No, I'm pretty sure the NFP report's not coming out. Now, we did have a release by Goldman Sachs that showed hiring is slowing. You can see everywhere, basically, it says hiring is slowing. BLS data shows hiring is slowing according to Goldman Sachs. ADP data shows hiring is slowing. Revelio shows hiring is slowing. Are we live? Dude, I thought, honestly, I've been speaking for the last, like, 5 minutes. I don't think we're going to get the NFP data. I hope we do. But what makes you think we're going to get NFP data today? Okay, so we got some updates here. So we might actually get, you're right, we might actually get the payroll data. I was only live for 30 seconds. Yeah, it was weird. Did my previous stream go live on this one? Alright, well, I gotta change this to a payroll report stream then. Hoping they release it today. Nasdaq's breaking down, SPY's breaking down, gold breaking down a little bit here. Yeah, we should get a we might get a non-farm payroll report. I hope we do, honestly. I don't know. A lot of things are showing that they might be released today, actually. Hey, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We appreciate it. Good morning. They said shut down at least Wednesday. I know. I'm looking at tracking. Yeah, I'm looking to see if NFP gets released today. Yeah, I'm trying to see this about whether the payrolls are coming out today. Again, look at yields. If you take a look at yields here, yields are a little lower this morning. Again, they're still down. They're down at 4.09% this morning, 4.09%. If we take a look at the rate odds here, rate odds for this month are at 98% to 2% likely for a 45 basis point rate cut later this month. We'll see if that happens. As for whether the NFP data out, I went to sleep last night thinking it wasn't. But now we're starting to see some chatter about it, maybe. Yeah, I mean, AI is saying no, it doesn't come out. Yeah, the Nasdaq SPY is let me see. SPY is green. Gold down a little bit from yesterday, but gold was ramping up yesterday. All right, I'm looking at this. What will happen to the jobs data collected for September and scheduled for publication on Friday? Okay, so unless they reopen today, which is not likely. Yeah, so it's very unlikely. I think we're gonna get actually the labor report today, in my opinion. Again, the labor report's expected at 52,000 for the median estimate, but I don't think we're gonna get it today. But according to CNN, the BLS September labor data has been collected and is likely ready for release. So CNN said this yesterday, midday yesterday. Despite the ongoing government shutdown, Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren has requested that the September jobs report be released on Friday, according to an aide. Furloughed BLS employees informed Warren's office about the status of the data, according to CNN. They said September data is collected and likely ready. However, a government shutdown halts the scheduled October 3rd release per the Labor Department plans, according to CNN. And so I do not think we're going to get a job report today, but we'll wait and see. Maybe we'll get a surprise release. Who knows? We have heard some rumblings about it getting released today. If you check the actual government site, though, it says suspension of federal government services. Last update was Wednesday, October 1st. Updates will start again when the Fed resumes operations. So yeah, I personally don't think we're actually getting it today. What do you mean NFP at 5:30? Yeah, last I heard they have the numbers as well. But it doesn't mean it's coming out. They might have it, doesn't mean they're going to release it. I mean, I hope they do release it, you know, but yeah, I'm seeing some stuff. Put the bottom of the screen and kind of put some of these updates in the bottom of the screen. But yeah, what I'm showing, I don't think it's going to get released. But maybe. I'll cover it no matter what. But ISM is still going to come out, yes. Yeah. I don't know, chat. We'll see. Yeah, do me hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. My stream was kind of weird this morning. Like, I thought I started it. Did you guys see it when I first started the stream? Like, I thought I started the stream. I started talking, covering stuff, and then I looked down and the stream wasn't started. Kind of weirded me out. And then I started the stream, but I was late because of it. The president just, the current administration just froze $2.1 billion in Chicago infrastructure projects, according to Bloomberg. So I see that news coming out. We'll see if we get any other big breaking news, but I don't see anything else on the BLS right now. Yeah, so this is the first time in over a decade the monthly jobs report is getting delayed, most likely. All right, yeah, so I'm checking everything. That's what it looks like. Ugh. Like, I'll still try to cover this, you know. Yeah, no, I don't think the labor data would be good even if we had it today. I don't think it would have been good. I think it would have been pretty bad data. I think the ADP data was bad. And so if the data is accurate, I don't think it would be good necessarily. I think Bloomberg came out with something showing hiring is slowing substantially. You know, I'm surprised. I mean, we got gold pulling back a little bit. Dipped yesterday heavy. Why did gold dip so heavy yesterday at 8:30? We didn't really get any 8:30 data yesterday. Hey, look at gold yesterday. I'm not seeing this for gold. What happened to 8:30 yesterday morning? Big pullback. Yeah, I'm looking up other news, but they might have been. Yeah, the last shutdown was 7 years ago, so maybe not quite 10 years. Yeah, the big one as well, like we have the labor report, but it's probably already done, right? CPI report's supposed to show up in about a week and a half. And so if they are shut down, they're not going to be able to look at that. Like, they're not going to be able to see that. They're not going to be able to compile that data. And that's a big one. CPI inflation. We want to see where that's at. The labor report's probably already done just based off of the government shutting down the day before yesterday, right? So the labor report realistically is probably already done just based off of that. But yeah, gold really broke down yesterday. Yeah, gold really broke down yesterday. No jobs report. Yeah, it's too early for them to rely on AI to release the data, though. So I said, do you think the AI we're spending billions on couldn't be trusted to do something like release simple data? Yeah, I mean, I think it's too early for that. I mean, I think they could probably get anything to release the data. It doesn't even need to be AI. You can just set a timer for the release pretty simply. But I think it's more realistically. I mean, not realistically. Honestly, I think it's probably principle. I think they could release the data, but the government shut down and they're not getting paid and they don't want to release it. Is what I think. Tesla new car sales in Britain rise 0.11% year over year to 8,038 units in September via new automotive data that showed up. We did have Tesla delivery numbers yesterday that showed up at 497K. So yeah, we'll see what that looks like. 497K. It's definitely taking some jobs. Saying it's not taking any jobs. I mean, come on now. Of course it is. You don't think any jobs have been replaced by AI? What about authors? You know, what about writers? Other type of writers? You know, what about there's so many you could think of. What about digital designers? You know, what about analytical? You know, what about analysts? What about... There's so much stuff that's getting replaced by AI. Creative works, mostly. But, yeah. It's not just that. It's that also that, like, using AI, you don't have to go... You don't have to pay money to see a specialist or a consultant as much. Consultants certainly getting replaced by AI. Right? This is just obvious. And so, yeah, we're definitely losing jobs to AI. That's just objectively true. I mean, it's obvious. But programmers, certainly junior devs, they're going to lose tons of jobs. You know, you don't need to hire a junior dev right now. You can have AI do it and be your junior dev. Is going to write cleaner code. Telemarketers certainly using AI. Not just telemarketers, but phone. There's a word for it. Phone managers, right? Like phone customer service representatives certainly getting replaced by AI. I talked to somebody with a big company the other day, and it was an AI person, right? You can tell because it waits to respond in exactly the same amount of time. Like it waited to respond about 1.5 seconds every single time, and so you knew it was AI. I don't know. I'm still trying to see if the labor report shows up this morning. I don't think it does. But oh, dude, I hurt my foot yesterday in jiu-jitsu. Freaking Aoki lock. It's not bad. Like, I can still walk. But, should have tapped earlier. I'm gonna have to sit out for a week or two. As long as it's not my knee, I'm okay. I just don't want my knee hurts a little bit on the right side, in the inside of my left knee. Hurts a little bit, but my foot hurts. I think I sprained my ankle, really is what it was, which is fine. I'd rather a sprained ankle than other stuff. Let me do a poll here. I don't think I've done a poll. Will AI replace jobs in a significant way? I mean, I think the answer is very obvious, but I'll make this the early poll anyway. Yeah, I'm sure there's tons of AI software that will analyze, you know, everything for you. Analyze and interpret. Of course AI is going to replace jobs. I mean, it's all good. It's all love here. But I wonder what people are arguing about. Are we really arguing that AI isn't going to replace jobs, Ty? You know? I think it's a silly argument. But hey, Maybe. Tesla's new car sales in Britain up 0.1% year over year. Again, the current administration froze 2.1 billion in Chicago infrastructure projects. Morning. Wait, you mean the drops in Tesla? It's just buy the rumor, sell the news, brother. So Tesla has moved up in anticipation. Like these, like look, Tesla is just buy the rumor, sell the news. I'm gonna put Tesla up on the right side here. Okay. If you look at Tesla and you throw up like an hourly chart, okay, leading into this quarterly delivery number data, Tesla has flown up. Tesla was at 350 back early, not even 4 weeks ago. Tesla was at 350s. It's now at 450s. You know, and so it was at 475s. And so big catalysts, especially with Elon Musk and Tesla, are very much buy the rumor, sell the news. Meaning it gets bought up into the actual announcement. And then once the announcement happens, people who bought up all this area here start to take profit, right? And so people that bought it up here and here and here and here, and they're riding it up and they're riding it up. Once the deliveries come out, which was really what was expected, which is higher, 497, we get a little profit taking sell off. This is pretty normal, like financial markets. This is pretty normal security movement. This is what I'm not saying it happens every time, but a lot of the time the real moves are happening prior to the data being released, not when the data is actually getting released. Now, if it's big data that really moves things, that's different. But with Tesla deliveries, it's just buy the rumor, sell the news. Yeah, well, running your own business is hard. Running your own business is tough, man. It's not easy, you know. Like running a business is hard. Again, I'll say it once, I'll say it again. I think I'm actually pretty, like, they say 1 out of 6 businesses fail. And I say this usually anytime somebody brings up entrepreneurship or business. They say 1 out of 6 businesses fail. And that's honestly, people get all sketched out by that. Like, oh, I don't want to start a business. Most of the time they fail. It's true. Most of the time they do fail. But honestly, you just got to keep starting businesses. Learn from each one. And if 1 out of 6 of them sticks, that can pay you forever. You know? That can take care of future generations if you do it well enough. And so I don't really see what the problem is. Just keep starting businesses until one works, you know? Yeah, it's unlikely we're getting BLS data. Unlikely. We're getting BLS data. No, it's not just mid-management. I'm talking about when you first start a business, right? Like maybe like established businesses, sure, but most businesses don't get to that stage. You know, most businesses just somebody tries something, it doesn't work, and then they fail, right? Right, you only got to be right once. Yeah, finding good people to work with is difficult. I've hired some people like contractors mostly, and Pawn's great. Pawn's great, but a lot of people before him, you know, they're just tough to work with, you know. Depends on how old they are. Like most of the time, like realistically, most of the time people that watch this stream, they want to do something similar to what I'm doing. And so when I hire them, usually they eventually are like, oh, hey, I want to do that myself. And then sometimes they get resentful because they want to do it, but then they're not really succeeding at it, and I am, and then they're mad, and then it creates this weird dynamic. Maybe I'm just hard to work with, but I'm pretty fair, I think. Like I'm pretty easygoing and fair. I don't ever really get mad. I might tell you I don't want something or want something, but yeah. Also I feel like a lot of the networks doing this, big networks, like Top Step TV's done it right. They're doing it right. But a lot of the other big networks, they're overfunded. Not overfunded, but like they hire too many people to where their margins are not good, you know. And I think you don't need that many people to run a business like this. In fact, we've seen some of the networks hire a bunch of people and then realize it's not sustainable and then lay off all those people, and now they're back to 1 or 2 people running their stream. And so that's how it goes, you know. Thin is better, I think, in terms of that. Oh, I'm getting Social Security. Again, like I said, I pay a lot of taxes. Probably too much taxes. I could probably pay less if I really wanted to, but I'm pretty safe. I'll probably overpay taxes every year, but... Yeah, I think yesterday markets were pricing in the shutdown lasting for 14 days. 14 days. I don't know how long it has. I hope it's less than that. And again, I don't think we're getting the BLS report today, but I'm just gonna wait and see and cover it anyway, just in case, because I've heard rumblings of the BLS data being completed. Warren was talking to CNN yesterday, and I don't think this is necessarily like anything, but she was talking to CNN yesterday, and she basically said that somebody from the BLS told her that the data was done and ready to be released. And so I'm just gonna be here anyway to see if they cover it, because I'd rather be here and see if they cover it versus not be here and they cover it anyway, right? And so that's my plan today. We're gonna cover it like they're gonna release it, and then if they don't, yeah. Three weeks? Yeah. Yeah, so Coinbase was upgraded to a buy at Rothschild & Co. Redbird price target 417 now, upgraded to overweight at Morgan Stanley. We're Curbaline Properties, which CURB. DK upgraded to equal weight at Morgan Stanley. A couple other upgrades and downgrades, but where is Bitcoin this morning? Bitcoin still elevated at 121s for Bitcoin futures. Good. The Bitcoin's still ripping up here. Well, it usually comes out at 8:30. But, you know, again, I don't freaking know today. Today's different. Government shutdown. BLS is government entity. BLS is the one that releases the data. Yeah. Yeah, again, I'm still kind of weirded out. Like, I started the stream and I thought I clicked stream. And then for whatever reason, it acted like I didn't. And then I sat here talking for 5 minutes. We ended up starting the stream a little bit later because of that, but just weird. I might trade a little bit. I mean, we got a little bounce here. Still looking at gold. Does anybody know why gold dumped yesterday? All right, betting odds right now. Looking at Kalshi. All right, guys. So 69% of odds think the government shutdown will last more than 10 days. In terms of more than 15 days, 47% of people are showing that they think it's going to last more than 15 days. Let's do a poll on this here. We did a poll here on AI and jobs and stuff, but yeah, I don't think we're getting an NFP report today, but again, I'm going to be here just in case. Right? Like I said, I'm doing this just in case. I don't think we're getting it, but like I don't think we're getting it, but it's possible we do. I don't freaking know here. Yeah, it sounds like maybe a YouTube issue. This was weird. I started the stream and then it didn't work. It'd be good to hear though. Hit the like button next to the play button. Make sure you're fully caught up on the stream. We appreciate it. Yeah, dollar close strong. Gold is still elevated here too. Look. Nasdaq dipping down some. I might take a little dip by here. We lost money yesterday, but we ended. It wasn't that much. Hasn't been the easiest week, I think, with the shutdown for me. Nasdaq still coming down. Look at this drop right here. Whoa. I'm gonna buy this. Like I said, I don't mind buying up a little dip here. See if we can catch something. Micros. Try to let this work a little bit longer. But it's pretty small. Yeah, do me a favor, y'all follow me on x.com at beginner trades. Yeah, so Wells Fargo on shutdown impact. Let me get out of this trade. We broke down a little bit too quickly here. Very small trade here, though. This might be news related. Let me make sure it's not. Gold's now trending higher, which is interesting. So yeah, Wells Fargo actually has it. Hold on. Wells Fargo, I'm reading this on x.com. Wells Fargo said, come the release of October employment, the shutdown should not have a direct impact bearing on non-farm payrolls. Even though furloughed workers do not receive pay during the shutdown, Congress passed a law guaranteeing back pay in 2019. The unemployment rate, however, would be pushed higher if shutdowns last longer, all the way through October 17th. So basically, payrolls aren't going to be affected, but I don't know if we're going to get the data today regarding this, what I'm showing here. Yeah, I'm not gonna add to it. It's early. I gotta be careful. Gold hit 39.23 yesterday. Apple's was downgraded to underperform from hold at Jefferies. Yeah, I'm wondering if we're just gonna get like chopped today. You know, choppiness. It's not even 8 a.m. yet. I don't think NFP's coming out. Again, that's why I have it as a question mark in the title. I don't know. I don't think it's coming out based off of most of the sources. But again, we have heard rumblings that it might be. And so again, like I said, I don't want to be somebody that thinks it's coming out. I would rather be somebody that is here if it comes out just in case versus somebody that is not here when it comes out. And basically, I'd rather be ready for it coming out and not be here versus or I'd rather be ready for it coming out and it not come out than not ready for it coming out and then it showing up randomly. They released non-farm data today. The Labor Party could be held liable for contradicting their published contingency plan. Yeah, maybe. Again, I'm here just in case. I don't know. Yeah, I would hope they would give us a heads up, but you never know with them. Nasdaq's still flushing down here, back down to the lows of the day here. So Nasdaq's cracking lows of the day right now. Just broke lows, still breaking down here. You can see the NQ fall. Yeah, I'm green today. Bro, when is T-Bill gonna pay me my distribution? They said it was supposed to be yesterday. Does T-Bill still pay? Okay, so I think they pushed it back a little bit. Of course, I'm a human. Verify if I'm a human. Crypto bags. MMF still paying. Alright, let's see if we start to get bounces back here. Look at Apple. Look how much Apple is down after getting... I don't know if this was just from the downgrade. Look at Apple drop right now. 253s. So Apple tanked this morning. I don't know why it's down this much. I don't really see anything. I see Mexican gross fixed investment month-over-month 1.6%. Brazilian industrial output, but... I don't know. Everywhere I looked yesterday, it was like, I'm trying to see how much the dividend they're going to pay me is. Because I have like... It's not a ton, but it's like 15K in T-bills. And so I'm trying to see what it's gonna pay me like $80 a month or $70 a month or I don't know. Said the payment date was supposed to be yesterday, but I don't see it hitting. Actually, it did hit. Okay, actually, I am wrong. It did hit. Okay. Alright, guys. Gold bouncing back up here. Still trending higher. I think right now it's like 4 point something, Rami. 4 point something, I think. You have to go back and check. It might be like 3.95. I think I saw that somewhere. It's 4 to 5%. It's what it does is TBIL signal or symbol keeps up with short-term bonds, short-term bond yields. It pays you a monthly dividend based off of short-term bonds, right? So if short-term bonds are paying 4% annualized, all right, so if I got 15K in bonds and it's paying me 4% annualized, it's paying me $600 a year. On those bond payments divided by 12, I'm getting... No, that's not right. Is that right? Hold on. Did I do my math right? Is it just $50 a month? 15,000 invested. 4% would be $600 divided by 12. 50. Yeah, so maybe it's just $50 a month. It's just a diversification tool. Like, I've got money in a bunch of other stuff, but I just put it in some... I'd rather let some money work for me in short-term bonds as well. Yeah, Bitcoin flying up. Yeah, I saw the $2,000 tariff rebate thing. I don't know. I'm not going to get too into it. Alright, guys. Hey, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I don't think we're getting NFP data today, just to clarify again. U.S. government shutdown is now in effect, especially the September jobs report, most likely delayed. But again, we've heard whispers of the data getting released today anyway. Bassett warned that the shutdown could damage GDP economic momentum. Hold on. Yeah, I'm worried it might make inflation worse is the problem. Yeah, I know I'm muted. I was talking to my wife, sorry. But yeah, Apple bouncing back up a little bit, but down heavy. It got downgraded. Let me see. I think it was Jeffries that downgraded Apple. Let me make sure. All right, guys, sorry. Yeah, so I don't think we're getting the payroll report today. I'm going to be here just in case we cover it. I do see Pantheon Macro saying that payrolls, or that AI is not the cause of weak hiring. And I'm seeing this report here. Hey, look, I just see this report. Payrolls in AI vulnerable sectors have stabilized so far this year. So we did see some decreases, but they have stabilized. What they mean by stabilization is we see this drop, and then now we're kind of like stable. They say hiring in these sectors is no weaker than a year ago. JOLTS hiring rate, professional business services, total private finance, and insurance. I also saw a report earlier this morning about a lot of different providers here showing weaker jobs. ISM services definitely coming out. So we're at the very least going to get ISM services at 10. We got one at 9:45 and then another at 10. So ISM services definitely coming out. ISM is the Institute of Supply Management. It's a private company. So we're getting that data for sure. Standard Chartered says Bitcoin could reach 135,000 by next week. Yeah, I mean, I think it could too. It just depends. If Bitcoin runs during the shutdown, like it sometimes does, when Bitcoin a lot of the time will run during holidays, right? When everything else is closed and the market's closed and finance is closed. And so Bitcoin tends to run a lot during those periods of time. And so maybe the shutdown will stimulate, interest in Bitcoin. I'm not sure. Yeah, so Apple got downgraded by Jefferies. Edison Lee cut Apple from hold to underperform with a 205 price target. He said stronger demand for iPhone 17 is already priced in. Expectations for 18 and a foldable model are too high. He raised iPhone growth estimates for this year, but kept a muted outlook for next year in 2027 due to higher prices and limited foldable demand. And again, Wells Fargo came out earlier that said, and this is despite the government releasing payrolls today getting suspended, like the payroll release getting suspended. They said, come the release of the October employment situation, which is currently scheduled for November 7th, the shutdown should not have a direct bearing on non-farm payrolls. So talking about next month payroll report, whether the shutdown is going to affect it. Shutdown should not have a direct bearing on non-farm payrolls, even though furloughed workers don't receive pay. Congress still passed the law. They're going to get back pay, is essentially what he's saying. So that's not going to be significant. The Fed government workers are still counted in the survey's measure of payrolls. And this is talking about next month, because next month is going to be the October. We'll look at October. The unemployment rate, though, could be pushed higher if the shutdown lasts all the way through the 17th of this month, so for the next 14 days, for the next 2 weeks. 47% of people think it's going to last longer than 2 weeks. I think right now 60-something% of people, it's like high 60%, think it's going to last longer than 10 days. But again, the October report could be delayed if this shutdown lasts long. I don't think there's going to be a labor report today. I don't think there is. You never freaking know. Maybe there is. I don't think there will be, but I really don't know. I'm going to be here and cover it just in case they do release it. We've heard rumblings again. Warren said on CNN or something like that, that it's done. She talked to somebody at the BLS and that it's done and they can release it. And so just in case they release it, I'm here. And we'll cover it just in case. I'd rather, like I said, I'd rather be here and them not release it than not be here and then they release it, you know. All right, Jeffrey said on the shutdown his position is to cancel cuts and save healthcare on MSNBC. They need to reopen. The government will sit down in good faith. And that was Jeffrey's. We did a poll, will AI replace jobs big? 81% of people say yes, it will. What is up with the views today, man? They're strange. Mm-hmm. Sure, P. Unemployment will be higher next month, you think? HR, she can't hire new people right now due to the gov agency that confirms identity closed to shut down. Yeah. Yeah, do me a favor, hit the like button. I think YouTube's messing with something in the background today. Definitely a little stranger than it usually is. Yeah, I mean, you could definitely build stuff with AI now, for sure, for sure. Much faster, much faster. It's way easier to build stuff with AI. Like, it's so much easier to build things with AI now than it used to be. As somebody that programmed, it used to take a long time. Like, when I was learning to program, I used to like to problem solve, like an error or a glitch or, you know, something that was breaking my code. I used to have to spend hours researching, hey, what is going on? Copy paste, like, what's going on here? What's going on there? Like, why is this not working? Now I can just take a picture of it, send it to AI. AI will be like, yo, this is what's wrong. You know, fix this now. And I was like, and I can just say, AI, fix the code for me. It'll spit out that code working. So. Yeah, and you can also build algorithms with code now. Like, look, I built this algorithm. I'm not going to show you guys what it is too much. But, like, look, I've built this algorithm with code. And it's generally pretty solid short term. Look at this. Here. Keep going back. Here, top, bottom. This one probably worked. These definitely worked. This one didn't work. This one worked. This one worked. You know, these two probably worked. This one probably didn't. I don't. Well, we ended up going up here, so you could probably say that worked too. But yeah, but it's generally pretty accurate. You know, it does pretty well at predicting tops and bottoms. You kind of jump on these moves. Gold's still heavily pushing up here. How are we, yeah, for sure. I predated the internet. We thought it was awesome when you could search online for error messages. Now it's on, yeah, for sure. Definitely different now. It's different than it was when I learned, what, like 7 years ago? 8 years ago? It's different now. Hey, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I don't think NFP is getting released today, but I'm here just in case it does. Again, hit the like button next to the play button, put it in 2x speed. I don't know what is going on with everything this morning. It's very strange. Yeah, the BLS site says this right here regarding the labor report. I'm going to be here just in case they surprise release it, but it says the website is currently not being updated due to suspension of Fed services. Update to the site was, last update was October 1st. We had jolts on the 30th. Again, on Kalshi, we can look at what are the odds of a shutdown lasting longer than 15 days. Currently, odds of that are 46% over 15 days. And I saw it the top yesterday for Target. I didn't even look at it since then. I'm still pretty green on it. Oh wow, Target dipped. Yeah. I don't remember where I originally bought Target. Anybody notice an issue with all internet lately? My internet's been okay. But granted, I have 1300 megabits per second upload, download speeds. So my internet's better than most people, but all right, guys, 13 minutes. I don't think we're gonna get the report today. I'm here just in case we get it though. Yeah, so the September non-farm payroll due 8/30 delayed due to government shutdown. The Bureau of Labor Statistics said it won't release or collect any economic data during the government shutdown. So I don't think we're getting it. I'm here just in case, but I don't think. Top 3 internet buyers in the world right now. Yeah, utilities have gotten higher the last few years, though. That's something that we've see a drastic increase from inflation is utilities. I've seen my utility bills go up. $174,000 by January. I don't know, man. It depends. Like, people were saying that Bitcoin would be over 250,000 last year, and so it just depends, man. I hope they're right. I hope they're right. But I always take Bitcoin predictions with a grain of salt. I'm just not 100%. You could put any big number up there. Say, will Bitcoin break 500,000 next year? Can Bitcoin break 1 million next year? And most people that are optimistic on Bitcoin, even if they don't think it's necessarily going to do it, they're still going to vote yes, just to cause optimism around it, No, 150K is definitely plausible. I mean, it's certainly possible. We're at 125. So that's just another 25K in 3 months. That's definitely possible percentage-wise for Bitcoin. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's possible. We could hit it. The GameStop pull it back, Yeah, CPI is set to release in a week and a half. Right, I think it's like the 12th. Let me see when CPI is supposed to come out. CPI is government data. October 15th. Wednesday, October 15th. So next Wednesday. No, I'm sorry. Not next Wednesday, but the week after next. When CPI is supposed to show up. And so we'll see. But that data is not getting released. We do have ISM services data today at 10. Yeah, again, guys, we're sitting around. I don't think they're releasing payrolls today. I just don't. But they might. Yeah, gold's very flat right now, very choppy. What it does. It's just a 1 minute chart that I'm looking at most of these on gold. Apple's down on a downgrade from Jeffries. Nvidia is close to all-time highs, but it's a couple bucks underneath it. A couple percentage down. Yeah, data centers could create jobs, but AI is definitely going to replace jobs too. So it could be a net neutral effect. I don't know regarding AI and jobs. I don't think so, but it could be. I don't think we're getting non-firm numbers. You can read the bottom of the screen. BLS says data is suspended until shutdown ends. Others are saying data is ready. Like Warren said, the data is finished and that it should be released. But again, just in case, I'm gonna cover it. It's probably not coming out at 8:30, but just in case, to cover it. Yeah, dude, I hurt my leg yesterday at jiu-jitsu. Freaking Aoki lock. Like, I can walk, but my foot hurts. And my knee hurts too. On my right side, so I think that's my MCL. It's not bad. I can walk, which means it's probably not a tear. But it could be a sprain. If it's a sprain on my MCL, I just have to be very, very careful. Which sucks. Can't train for a while. You have to build and maintain those data centers. Yeah, but they're going to get built and maintained regardless. I mean, that's going to happen. And, oh, you're talking about... Yeah, I should have tapped earlier. It was an Aoki lock, so I wasn't really... I'm used to ankle locks, and I'm used to heel hooks. But an Aoki lock is like a heel hook ankle lock, so it's just a different... it was no-gi, so it's just... I wasn't used to the pressure from it. Like, I know when to tap to a heel hook. I know when to tap to an ankle lock. But an Aoki lock is just a little different. Honestly, at this point, I'd rather the neck pain PT, to be completely honest. But I can extend and retract my knee, which is a good sign. It means it's not torn. Alright, gold's still pushing up here. Gold's in a very tight range. The data is supposed to get released in 5 minutes, but I think it's... Again, I'm going to cover it. But I don't think it's coming out. An Aoki lock, so it's kind of like it's a shallow ankle lock that targets your foot, if that makes sense, and twists your foot. It's hard to look it up, you'll see it. That's jiu-jitsu. That's Brazilian jiu-jitsu. It is. I'm a blue belt in BJJ. I'm not gonna be able to train for a while though. At least a couple weeks. I gotta sit out. It depends on how it feels. Maybe if it feels better. Max Payne still relevant to predict stock price? I mean, maybe. Again, the BLS data probably isn't coming out today. You would think they would just release it. Like, bro, okay, you got to leave one person on longer. You're still getting back pay. So, you know. A lot of people would consider, this is my issue with it, right? Number one, I'm biased because I want them to cover this data, right? Like, I want to be able to cover this data. This is what my channel does, is cover big economic releases. And so I would love to be able to cover big economic releases. The problem is that during the shutdown, they furlough what's called non-essential workers, right? In my opinion, the economic data that we need to guide the Federal Reserve in their interest rate decisions, especially if we've seen deep weakness in the labor market, massive weakness in jobs, and, you know, we need to know how much we should cut considering weakness in labor markets, right? I think most people would consider that essential. You know, keep one person on to release the report. Like, the government only shut down 2 days ago. And so you're telling me they didn't compile this data already? They can't just click release for this data on Friday and put it out there so that the Federal Reserve can see the jobs data that they need to make their decision later this month? I think that's ridiculous. And I think if we're talking about what's considered essential here for federal government employees, I would argue the people releasing the freaking data are some of the most essential, you know? But I digress back. What do you guys think? Right, it was probably ready at the end of last month, 100%. Hey, y'all subscribe, hit the notification bell. I appreciate it. All right. We got 2 minutes left until the data report is generally scheduled to get released. Again, I don't think the data's coming out today, just to clarify. I agree with everything being said, but to release it requires someone to be working. Right, but all government employees aren't furloughed. It's only like 40% of them. You're telling me out of the 60% of people that aren't furloughed, you can't keep one dude there being like, yo, let's release this data. Like, let's guide the Fed, let's guide monetary policy and release the payroll and unemployment report on time. I love you. I can't bend my knee that well. All right, I love you. Yeah, so less than a minute until it's scheduled to come out. Like I said, I don't think it's coming out, but I'll cover it just in case it does. We do have ISM manufacturing data later, which is good. Yeah, when I look at sites here for Friday, most sites don't even have it scheduled. We do have ISM services for 10 though. Again, watch them release the report anyway. Again, scheduled for 25 seconds. I don't think it's coming out today. I really don't. Let's see. You'll know because the market will move if it drops. 10 seconds. Hit the live button next to the play button. Catch up. But and here's the report release schedule right here. Look at the market move. Market moving at 8:30. Look at this. Didn't really hold. That's an interesting candle. I don't see it out. I would love for them to release it, but I don't know that. JP Morgan raised the Tesla price target to 150 from 115. Tesla? 150? What are you talking about, JP Morgan? What is JP Morgan talking about? Yeah, I don't think the data came out, fortunately. It was a move. Like something happened just now at 8:30. I don't really see gold spiked up too. I'm looking at updates. I don't see anything though anywhere. So I don't think we're getting a report. Again, it was expected at 50. Yeah, Algo is probably a little confused based off of predictions. But look at this candle. That's a big candle for 8:30. It doesn't look like the data's coming out though. Like I said, again, like I said, it probably wasn't coming out, but I wanted to be here in case it did. I'd rather be here and it not come out than it come out and me not be here. So let's see what happens now. But not getting the report moved the market. Yeah, no report. Yeah, no, I saw that one already, Pawn. Did I misspell suspended? All right, let's type it up quick. Suspended. Suspended. There you go. Sometimes I type. Top 3 fastest typer in the world right now. All right. So yeah, gold's ripping up on no payrolls data. Market enjoys trapping shorts. Honestly, look at gold right here. So gold, you know, like I said, I'll say it once, I'll say it again. Gold very close to 4,000. Very close to 4,000 for gold. Yeah, NFP's canceled. PCE data came out a few days ago. No payroll report released as expected. Although the markets didn't move, must have just been algorithms. Gold spiking up. Nasdaq coming back down a little bit. So one of the things I'm seeing this morning is that the last like few weeks, what we've seen is we've seen gold and the Nasdaq move up almost simultaneously. Right? A lot of the time they have an inverse correlation because, you know, but I guess they're both risk on assets. But people also hedge with gold. Gold's a little bit more nuanced than equities. But today they've kind of inverted a little bit, I would say. Gold pushing up, Nasdaq pushing down over the last hour. So see what happens there. Watching gold still. Gold all-time highs now 39.23. Weren't you still short yesterday, Ramsey? We ended up ripping up big yesterday. Jobs data leaks, maybe. Yeah, well, on saying like a big story here could be, can we be bearish without getting any reports? That could cause a loss. If people are fearful of weak jobs, is not getting reports a bullish thing? And when markets start to push up, I don't know. Without reports, we could see when the reports finally do drop, they're just much more influential. They're much more consolidated to one central time. I don't know. Yeah, my friend wanted to buy USAR. I didn't talk him out of it. I just told him I didn't know. And it looks like he should have bought it. I didn't talk about it. I just told him I didn't know. I told him sometimes it's buy the rumor, sell the news. So if it's up already big, it might not hold. But now it's up 50%. You know, not quite 50, but close. Todd who? Pew. You talk about the guy that got banned like a couple weeks ago? Might be the same guy. I don't open LinkedIn, bro. I don't use LinkedIn. I don't want to work corporate jobs, so LinkedIn is useless to me. All right, look at the NASDAQ fall here. Goolsby, when asked about the lack of data, says the Chicago Fed employment measures released yesterday tracks unemployment at 4.3%. 4.3%. That just came out. Again, Goolsby, when asked about the lack of data, says the Chicago Fed employment measure tracks unemployment at 4.3%. 4.3. Non-farm payrolls didn't come out today, is what happened. They didn't release today. Government shut down. BLS is a government entity. So they just didn't come out today. Well, that's the fear, Lee. Lee said, John, if the Fed data is dependent, how can the Fed cut rates without the data? Because right now, what the data they have to go by the data that they have available. And what has all the recent data shown? I think it's actually more likely we cut if we don't get the data, because that would mean the story continues business as usual, right? And if you take a look at that, like, what do you think? What do you think the recent data has shown? We've seen ADP data come out weak. We've seen non-farm payrolls come out weak. We've seen lots of stuff come out weak over the last 2 months. And so in that regard, I think we just have to use the data at hand now versus just not doing anything. Yeah, use previous data estimated from there. Yeah, for sure. Goolsby again. Fed estimates September unemployment 4.3%. 4.3%. He said, what data we have still points to a pretty stable labor market right now, according to CNBC. Ooh. All right, NASDAQ bouncing right here. We're going to start looking at some levels and trading a little bit more. All right, guys. So yeah, I'm looking at everything. GameStop started to spike. 4.3% isn't bad for unemployment data. Let's see if yields have moved any from this morning. Yeah, this morning they were under 4.1%. They're actually lower than that they were. So yields are actually down even more. Maybe just on no payroll report. But like, look at yields. They've fallen again today. Here's yields. Right, so yields are down. Yields and interest rates follow each other. So if you want to see where interest rates are going, you can get a look at yields. And you can see yields have fallen since the government shutdown. Basically, people interpreting that the Fed is just going to use the data that they have at hand versus if the government shut down. Now, the Federal Reserve is not a government entity, so they're still going to make their decision. But the BLS is a government entity, which produces CPI and the labor report. Jobless claims come out from a government entity as well, right? So we don't get jobless claims, we don't get CPI, we don't get BLS data, non-farm payroll data, while the government is shut down. And so CPI is scheduled for the 15th in a little bit under 2 weeks. If the government shuts down leading into that, we should be okay, even if the data comes out, even if the government stops being shut down by like the 9th, we still should get CPI data, or like, yeah, by like the 9th or 10th, we should still get CPI data on the 15th. But if the government stays shut down going into that week, Monday, Tuesday, still shut down, we're not going to get CPI either. Most people think they're going to cut with no data. Yeah, most people think we're going to cut without data. Goolsby said we were seeing both sides of the Fed mandate deteriorate. On jobs picture, we were seeing investments. Again, he said they're seeing Goolsby says wary of front-loading interest rates. Goolsby said the uptick to services inflation is probably not from tariffs. Yeah, I mean, if CPI comes out hot, I don't know. Again, that's assuming we even we get a CPI report if the government stays shut down. And here's Nvidia. Apple downgraded this morning. It's down pretty significantly, on the 250s. Yeah, so I'm gonna hit you guys with this meme today. Oh, this doesn't give me. Okay. All right, chat. NASDAQ breaking down 25. I'm gonna watch it maybe for a buy at 25 ones or maybe 25 even. No, it's kind of boring here. We don't have any labor report. NASDAQ still flushing down here. When do we stop dropping here? I'm looking at news. I don't really see any news aside from Goolsby speaking. Maybe it is Goolsby speaking influencing things. Goolsby said the longer we go without the official statistics, the more blind we will get about what's going on in the economy. All right, so right now we got 2.9% core PC inflation. We get rate cuts into 2.9% PC inflation for the first time in 30 years. Labor market outlook's deteriorating. Jobs report is suspended. 100 billion per quarter in AI capex. Gotta own something. Yeah, I mean, listen. We'll see. All right, chat. Ugh. We do have ISM services, and maybe ISM services is going to move the market a lot more. So, like, if ISM services can move markets, ISM is not government data, right? So, it's very possible that it moves markets more than most things right now. Like, more than normal. Right, so we're still dipping down. I spent a long time creating this meme. Hopefully you guys appreciate it. A long time I spent creating this meme. Somebody gave me the idea. Some of you guys will get it, some of you guys won't. That's alright. Again, I'm looking at gold. Gold seems elevated though. It's almost at 3,900s. Still waiting here. We got 40 minutes until the market opens. Last time I posted this, nobody got it. Nobody understood. Nobody laughed. I felt old, honestly. I really felt old. All right, guys. 25-1. I should have bought maybe a little bit earlier, but. Yeah. Give me a follow on x.com if you want more of that stuff. What did I just click, bro? What the heck did I just click? Y'all heard that? Check my positions. Hey, what's up, Steven? Yeah, all good, brother. NFP probably not coming out today. Probably. Bro, apparently nobody ever reads the giant yellow scrolling letters at the bottom of the screen. You don't know how much I cover economic data, and it's like PCE data, inflation data. And the title will be like PCE inflation data 8:30. And then on the bottom, big yellow scrolling letters, it'll be like PCE data is released live at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Here is the expectations. Yet I get so many people that join the stream saying, what time does PCE inflation data come out, bro? Like, come on now. Use your context clues here, okay? Yeah, I clicked my keyboard and then heard the little toss noise. And then nothing ended up happening. I didn't enter anything. Yeah, no NFP data because I don't know. We had Warren come out this morning essentially saying that the data is ready to be released and they should release it. Maybe that means it'll come out sometime today, but I don't know. Yeah, ISM data is still getting released. It is Friday. Again, I'm going to say it once, I'll say it again. Non-essential employees for the federal government are supposed to be furloughed, which is like 40%. You're telling me out of the 60% essential workers, they couldn't throw one dude in there to just click the release button for this data? You know it's already compiled. You know they already have this data out there, right? So essentially, if 60% of federal government employees are deemed essential, y'all can't throw one guy in there to release the data. I would argue the data is the most essential thing for the Federal Reserve meeting coming up. And so, again, realistically, I think it's principle. I think they're like, no. I think they probably could, but I think they're like, no, just because it's principle, you know. So no, y'all let the government shut. Y'all, we're not getting paid. We're not doing it. They're boycotting it, essentially, I think is what it is. I mean, that is what it says, Bunny, but, you know. AI already does. I don't know if it's AI, but it's definitely APIs that do most of the financial updates anyway, madness. It's not really AI, it's just APIs. It's data pullers. We don't actually have people doing it anyway. But again, Goolsby said they're tracking unemployment at 4.3%. I don't think the Federal Reserve has the data. It's an independent agency. They might have it. I don't know. You don't never know what kind of stuff they have. Yeah, trades have been light. Let me try to stand up, see what my knee is doing here. They said the pain from stuff like this is the worst 24 hours after the end. So I'm hoping this is just the worst part, and then it gets better from here. Bro, my bathtub isn't working. My bathtub works. We don't have a bathtub in our master bedroom now, though. Torn out. We're getting our bathroom. All right, guys. We're hanging out. Oh my gosh, is this dude rapping right now? You guys red or green today? Gold's still pushing up. Again, an optimistic sign though has been the Nasdaq is still pretty close to all-time highs. Yeah, so we're almost to 9 a.m. We'll see what happens. Again, the ISM service data maybe is going to be the main event today. We will see. ISM service is probably going to be the main event. See, it was very strange though. And I guess it makes me feel a little bit better. Is that if I genuinely hurt my knee, would it be swollen? Like, it's not swollen at all. It looks the same as my other knee. Gold's still ripping up. Look at gold, almost at 3,900s. I guess that's Gemini. ChatGPT is known. Honestly, ChatGPT is good, but ChatGPT, I feel like it doesn't back check anything. You know? Like, I could say, hey, I'm gonna win the lottery every day for 2 weeks in a row. And ChatGPT would like be like, yeah, that's definitely gonna happen. You know? And so that's the issue with ChatGPT. Gemini is usually a little bit better. Gemini will be like, nah, you know. But ChatGPT is just kind of, you know, it'll just blindly agree with you. If it thinks it can trick you into accepting it, it's just gonna say it. Reddit pushing back up here. Apple's still down. I almost want to buy the dip in Apple, but with so much pessimism around the iPhone release, dude, the iPhone release has so much pessimism around Apple. You know, like they did really well overseas in China, but they said the sales slumped here for some models. I don't know. The market's not really doing anything. Gold's pushing up. I think I mentioned that a number of different times, up to almost 3,900. Nasdaq's down. Waiting here. There's 9 a.m. Apple got downgraded. I think it was by Jefferies. And Goolsby looks like he's done speaking. So Goolsby essentially said unemployment tracks to 4.3%. U.S. Labor Secretary Chavez Darimer says the September jobs numbers are to be out as soon as the government opens. Jefferies cuts Apple to underperform from hold. Cuts target to 205. That's why Apple's down. But Goolsby also said the longer we go without official statistics, the more blind we will be about what's going to happen in the economy. Yeah, we'll see what Tesla does. Tesla, Reddit started to bounce back. It's at 211s. Here's Tesla. Tesla, by the rumor, saw the news yesterday. There's not 3900s for gold. Gold over 3900s, pushing towards all-time highs at 39.23. It hit it yesterday. iPhone, better camera, more battery, blah, blah. Gonna be 2027. 4Z full tech hits Apple. A short gold right here. I know it's a risky short. Let's try. Just a small position. It's 3900. Here's gold. I'll put the position up. Wait. All right, so we're still breaking down here. We're in gold. I could add more to it. I just think gold might retrace down a little bit before it pushes back up. I still think it'll probably push back up here. But, there we go. Go ahead and cover right here for a really nice little gold rejection at that big hold dollar of 39. I'll take it. Maybe I should have stayed in this gold position. Yeah, iPhones are they did a very smart thing. I've said this dynamic before. It's hard to tell though, in terms of valuations. What's Apple's PE ratio? Like, iPhones are very smart. They make young people want an iPhone. You know, young people want an iPhone. Nobody wants Samsung. If they're like, I have a 16-year-old, she would not. I've said this example many times. I could buy her the newest Samsung, coolest Samsung ever, or give her a 3 or 4-year-old iPhone, and she would pick the 3 or 4-year-old iPhone because the cool thing to have is an iPhone. Now that dynamic could always change, but people get, like, when Apple was down at like $200, people were saying Apple was going to fail, and I gave them the same argument at the time. Now Apple's up to $250, you know. And so it's up 25% from where it was. And I think Apple they're really smart about locking it down. Now, overseas, it's a different dynamic for sure. But yeah. I should have held gold, I think. I'm looking at gold futures. Oh, we have ISM survey today. Also, Spruce Point Capital just announced a short on DraftKings. Bro, I haven't looked at DraftKings. DraftKings has kind of fallen off a little bit. No? Look at DraftKings all the way down at $35 a share. I don't know if this is a good time to short DraftKings. No? Maybe they know about regulatory changes? That's the only thing I can think of. Spruce Point Capital talking about shorting DraftKings. Tesla delivery numbers again, 497s yesterday. Freestyle, you better pay me more. I'm still probably not going. Yeah, so looking at the shutdown. So current estimates for 2025 shutdown. Some agencies see nearly 45% of civilian DoD workers have been projected to be furloughed. Historically, in past shutdown, a larger share, maybe 23 or 25 to 35%. Yeah, so if it's just 23 to or 25 to 35%, you would assume that you have somebody click a button. What's your views on cigarettes? I mean, I think people should be able to do whatever they want to do, as long as it's not hurting anybody else. Yeah. You know, I don't smoke. I used to smoke. I don't smoke anymore. I quit maybe 7, 8 years ago, 9 years ago, almost a decade ago when I was in my 20s. I smoked off and on though. I was never really. I was more of a social smoker. Anyways, pushing up to 3900s again for gold. Looks like I got out pretty close to the bottom here. NASDAQ, if we take a look at it, leading into the opening bell in 20 minutes. I would say a lot of people would say I'm ranting. My rants are still on point. Smoking is not healthy, but neither is brisket, you know? And I love brisket. So, like I said, can't really judge. Alcohol is not healthy either. What's up, Femi? Yeah, secondhand smoke, not good. Trust me, I grew up in the generation where people just smoked right around you, you know, in restaurants, everything. So, I understand. And gold can keep pushing up. I think gold wants 4,000. NASDAQ bouncing back up. It's over 25, 125s, but I think gold wants 4K. I don't know when it's going to happen. I really don't know. Yeah, I really don't know. Again, I'm a big believer in being in people being should be able to do whatever they want as long as it's not hurting others. right? I'm a big believer in that. I don't think we should try to control everybody, because people are going to do things regardless of its legalization status, regardless of whether it's allowed to do it. And if you prohibit too many things, you know, if there's too much prohibition around things, it's just going to create illegal markets for it. And people are still going to consume those things. It's just going to be a lot sketchier for everybody, right? But, you know, I do think there's some things that should be illegal, of course. All right, so yeah, Spruce Point holds a material short position in DraftKings. Estimated shares of DraftKings. They estimate that DraftKings faces up to 35% to 60% potential long-term downside to around $14 to $22 per share. Yeah, the only thing is, like, look at how down DraftKings is already. And so, you know, I know we used to have Hindenburg research with short reports, but it doesn't seem that whoever this is, Spruce Point, is affecting DraftKings that much. DraftKings is actually still green on the day. Now, maybe this report came out back here. I don't know. The 30th of September. But DraftKings doesn't look to be too affected by it today. Bank of America Global Research pulls forward its Fed rate cut forecast to October from December this year. Yeah, I could have told you we were going to cut in October. You know? What are the analysts doing over there? You know, maybe they're right. Listen, maybe we get changes. But I told you guys after that last Fed meeting that we'd probably do 25, 25, 25. I still stick with that. We're going to do 20, 20, 25, 25, 25. And if John at Beginner Trading see this earlier than Bank of America, you know, I know I'm the top 3 greatest ever, but, you know, come on, Bank of America, get it right. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll eat my words. Gold's still pushing up. When did that come out? December. Again, market opens up in 15 minutes. John, when do you think for stopping quantitative tightening? Late this year, early next year is when I think is when the projections are for it. So late this year, early next year is probably when we're going to end QT. We've already, like, you got to understand. So this is essentially where quantitative tightening is at right now. Quantitative tightening is essentially at, we've reduced it by, we've reduced QT. Let me draw this. You're not going to let me draw it? Fancy pen thing? Oh, let me draw this. Oh. Right now I got to exit out of view. Alright, I'm waiting for my little pen to work. Alright, yeah, so quantitative tightening at this point in time is at this level here. So QT, they reduced it by 80% on treasuries. The treasury QT is reduced by 80%, but their MBS quantitative tightening, which affects mortgages, has not been reduced, right? So the mortgage-backed security QT has not been reduced at all, right? And so what I'm trying to say is, like, essentially they've already reduced the QT that they were doing, the reduction of their balance sheet in treasuries, by 80%. So a majority of it has been reduced, right? So it's still a very slow runoff in terms of treasuries. Their MBS is still going 100% at what they were for the last 3 years in the reduction of their balance sheet. Now, if you want mortgage rates to go down faster, you could end the QT on MBSs, but I don't think we're going to do that now. I think it's going to be either much later this year or next year, but I might be wrong there. Are we still talking about cigarettes in here? What are y'all talking about? Oh, you're talking to John Shanks, yeah. I don't even want a cigarette anymore. You know? Like, I can be around people smoking and, you know, doesn't do anything. It's just makes me feel bad. All right, gold up to 3,900s here. Nasdaq still testing. In 2025, they lied to me. Well, you know, the Federal Reserve changes their outlook pretty regularly. You know, the problem with a lot of people in terms of man, my phone. I forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah, in terms of outlook, people sometimes look at what Jerome Powell, the Federal Reserve, says 3-4 meetings ago, months and months ago, and they use that to try to make predictions based off of today, like, oh, we're going to cut today. One of the things about market pricing, and again, it has to do with bonds, okay? So when we look at market pricing for this type of stuff, it has to do with bond prices. So in that regard, one of the reasons I look at this every day, I'd look at 10-year yields, I look at the CME watch tool. This is the market pricing in the most probable outcome. And so think of this as one of the best predictors in the world, because this is everybody looking at it saying, hey, this is what we think is going to happen. And the CME watch tool is incredibly accurate. And the problem is, like, we might have something, say it's 15 minutes before the decision comes out and we have a 97% likelihood of a 25 basis point cut. You got some people that don't really understand how to watch this stuff, predicting that we're going to pause or predicting that we're going to do something super low percentage, even though the market is overwhelmingly pricing the other end in. And so you got to understand, like, this is the market pricing things in. And when everybody prices something in, it's pretty freaking probable. Now, it's never 100%. There's always variance. It's never absolute. But yeah, you got to understand, like, you can't look at what they said 3 meetings ago. You got to go meeting by meeting, especially with the Fed, because they will change their outlook regularly with all kind of stuff. And so if you don't watch the most recent meeting and you're still holding on to stuff they said 6 months ago, you're primed to be just misled, I guess is the easiest way to put it. All right, guys, we got the opening bell in 12 minutes. Dude, I gotta go with Ankalaev. I just think he is I think his last fight, yeah, so again, Bank of America Global Research pulls forward its Fed rate cut forecast to October this year. Yeah, Ankalaev's probably going to beat Pereira. Pereira's got a, you know, he's some of the best striking in MMA. So, I mean, gold's still pushing up. We're at 39.05s here. Nasdaq still sitting at 25.125s. Yeah, well, we were watching The Fifth Element, and I was joking. I was explaining to my daughter, I was explaining to my daughter, like, in The Fifth Element, they have the healthy ones of the future, and the filter's like this big, and the actual rest is like this big, you know. So, not necessarily wrong about the future, but All right, Nasdaq still pushing up. Gold still at 39.05s. Yeah, the movie Thank You for Smoking. That'll kind of reinforce what it looks like. Bank of England's Governor Bailey is speaking. Non-farm payroll is government shutdown, so we're just not getting them today because the government shutdown. Gold's still pushing higher here. Still elevated. I think gold wants all-time highs. It wants 4,000 as well. I think 4,000 is a number we'll see people get more and more optimistic about for gold over the next couple months. Y'all think it breaks 4K this month in October? Heading up to all-time highs. All-time highs I think are 23s. 39 23s for gold. Snapchat? Yeah, I haven't seen Snapchat. Snapchat's lost some attention for sure. It's back up though today. Up to 820s. It's hard to monetize Snapchat is the problem. You know, so like it's just very difficult to monetize it. Yeah, I'm looking at gold futures, guys. It's not spot gold. Yeah, still waiting for the market to open here. Market's not going to close down anyway. Again, Apple downgraded. Big drop this morning, down to 254s. DraftKings, DKNG had a big short opened up on it, although it's not really moving. I wonder when this was really released. Five minutes, chat. 5 minutes. Goolsby spoke a lot this morning. Bank of England Governor Bailey says, I see the danger that arguments to change financial regulation are interest-based. I see growing risks that the pro-cyclical tide turns. We are inhibited from collecting necessary data in new areas of risk. Well, the data didn't disappear, just didn't come in. Gosh, dude, what I keep. There we go. All right, so I'm interested in kind of buying the Nasdaq if we get a pullback here. The problem is we're kind of close to the 200 exponential, so we're too close to the opening bell for me to buy it. We're 3 minutes in. Bull or bear at the opening bell, chat. I realized I didn't do another poll here. Let me start one. Are you bullish or bearish for today's opening bell? Let me know. What's the symbol, Roberto? You mean Keurig Dr. Pepper or a different one? Alright, there's the poll. The poll is now live. Most people are bullish for today's opening bell. Interesting. Honestly, I might buy a gold dip here too. It just depends on how it behaves at the opening bell. But if I can get into a cheap gold entry, I might take one. Just because it's so close to these all-time high levels that I think it's going to push up in anticipation of them. Honestly, maybe I should use my algorithm more on gold futures. Look at the algorithm I have on gold futures here. Yeah, that seems pretty solid, right? Look at this one down here. Nice little rebound up. Nice little rebound up. Nice little dip. This one is the only questionable one right here. But it still fell down a little bit. This one was really good, right at the bottom. All right, guys, 1 minute left until the opening bell. 1 minute. Bro, the Yankees, I don't think are gonna. I mean, baseball is definitely more variance, really cold. But the Dodgers are a freaking powerhouse, dude. Dodgers are just like the Dodgers are the new Yankees right now. It's like they've got so many good players, bro. They've got Mookie Betts. They've got Freddie Freeman. They've got Shohei Ohtani. They've got Roki. They've got so many good players. Edmund, Smith, Hernandez, Rojas. All right, guys, here's the opening bell. Let's see what we get. Yeah, quantum stock's flying. All right, here's the bell, chat. Again, hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you're caught up on the stream. All right, here's the bell. Nasdaq popping up here. Nasdaq jumping some. Get the Nasdaq pop here at the opening bell, guys. So Nasdaq ripping up. Apple rebounding some here too. I'm gonna put like Nvidia up here. Nvidia's still dipping down though. Nvidia's close to all-time highs. The question is, has it tested its highs and it's gonna retrace, or see. All right, we're getting some chop at the opening bell. Snapchat's ripping up. Next, look at this fall down on gold here. Ugh. I still think gold probably going to push up and test those highs sometime today. I just got to kind of wait for that. You know? Yeah, we're about 2 minutes into the day. Again, we didn't get an NFP labor report this morning. Letting the opening bell settle down some here. Alright, so the U.S. Supreme Court agrees to hear Exxon's case seeking compensation from Cuban state-owned firms for oil and gas seized in 1980 or 1960. Apple ripping back up here, which is good. I don't know. I say ripping probably a little bit too much, but talking about this candle on the Nasdaq. Nasdaq's up on the day, or up since the opening bell. I mean, gold's pushing up. I think gold's gonna retest these highs today. I think that's pretty likely. Still watching gold push. Apple, Nvidia, both bouncing back a little bit after the bell. Apple's basically filled the whole downgrade gap it got this morning. Yeah, I'm in gold right now. I'll put this trade up. It's kind of a I might try to add to it, but I think breaking highs of the day on gold. I just want to see if we keep pushing up to the all-time highs today, which is kind of why I'm buying it right here. I think it gets over 39.10s. Maybe it'll start testing all-time highs. I'll only take a couple positions here, though. I buy this little micro dip right here, see if we pop back up. There we go. Back up. Let's see if we hold. There we go. I would think gold would benefit the most from the shutdown, but especially with it being so close to like a big number. It is Friday, so you do have to predict maybe a little bit more sideways, but hopefully we rip up. I think I think the story of gold makes sense today. There we go. A little bit off there. Goes a little bit better. Probably gonna hold this close to our entry now. Starts to break down. I don't want to get stuck in like a deeper flush, but I'm hoping it bounces. Still in a flat range for everything. Nasdaq's pretty sideways. Again, we did not get payrolls today, so we did not get payrolls. I'm gonna cut it right there. Mostly flat on that position. No reports, no problems, maybe. Yeah, I mean, Nasdaq is technically green, but when I say that, I'm talking about since the opening bell. Like, we've gone up and down and up and down. Yeah, it's a rough time to sell, Bunny. For sure. Again, if you haven't already, check out Top Step. No PDT in futures. You can day trade the S&P, Nasdaq, Dow, gold, commodities. Great way to learn how to day trade when most day traders lose money. It's just a cheaper way to learn. $50 a month for the base one. If you pass it, you get a 50K funded account, 90% split. They pay out millions, fund thousands. If you fail, you lose $50. It's the best of both worlds. It's limited risk, similar reward, and they pay out millions. Zero commission on Top Step X. The patterns in futures get you futures get you around the PDT rule, and the patterns are very similar to day trading stocks. No PDT rule. Most people should be day trading futures. Top Step also has their back to funding option, where you can reset funded accounts. And unlike others, like, you get to keep the same rules in the funded account that you had previously on normal funded accounts after you reset them, versus others where they restrict the rules on like direct to funded stuff. And so it just makes sense. They're a sponsor of mine, though. I am biased. I get paid by them. So I am biased. If you want to check them out, understand all the stuff on screen. Not an investment professional. Not liable if you lose money. Always make your own assessment. Trade smart. I can't guarantee anything. Again, I'm biased. Genuinely useful for traders, though. Genuinely useful. There's the link. Check it out. Kind of chopping a little bit now. Here's the Nasdaq. Tight little range this morning at the open. Nasdaq pushing up by 164s. Let me draw some levels here. Tesla deliveries did come out weak. Nvidia's still pushing up though, over 190s. Tesla corrected yesterday and it kind of buy the rumor, sell the news of it, but it's still pushing up today. Look at the Nasdaq dump down here. Look at this. Let me see if there's a reason for this. Moran says access to data is important to making policy. Hopeful the Fed will have needed data by the next FOMC at the end of this month. Says Fed policy should be forward-looking. Cost of housing is paramount in thinking, according to Moran. keep them closed for the month. I don't think they're gonna be. I hope they're not closed all month. Just stayed in gold maybe, but the problem with gold is I'm still worried gold is just gonna stay stagnant here. Still chop breaks. NASDAQ testing bottom of the opening bell range. Baran also said small changes in measured inflation are difficult for households to detect. Inflation expectations are seasonally well anchored. Using backwards looking data is misguided. Estimates of low neutral rate are based on forward looking estimates. Deregulation of the economy will expand the economy's potential. I don't think the neutral rate is 0. Yeah. Like maybe I'll try to short a little pop in the NASDAQ here. For this little pop, maybe a little bit more. See if we reject back down here. Go. Whatever rejection. Half off there. Hold the rest, see if we flush back down. Gold's still elevated. We got a break in the opening range. I just want to see if we can track back down here. Add a little bit more to this up here. But we do have ISM services data today, remember guys. So we do have ISM services. The question is, how does that affect markets? I forgot about we have ISM services today, 10 a.m. Oh, and we have regular manufacturing PMI here. Hold on. Or we have regular services PMI at 25 seconds. I'm going to probably cut this. It's non-manufacturing PMI. I'm going to cut at least half of it right here just based off of this. We'll see what the data shows up as. I will cover the data as soon as it drops. Again, ISM services at 10. Regular services is in 10 seconds. So we will see. I'm flat here. I guess I'll hold it. But all right, so here goes. Regular services showed up at stronger than expected. 54.2 versus 53.9 expected. So better than expected a little bit here. Maybe this is trending to look better for ISM services data that comes out in 10 minutes. Forgot about this. We're still kind of flat on the remainder of this position here. ISM services at the Institute of Supply Management is a little bit different. Oh, I forgot I was in this position. It's 20 bucks though. We're so choppy right now. Maybe the market pushes up, but I'll just wait now. We got the actual ISM services PMI data. This one's small. Regular PMI is small. The ISM services will affect markets much more. Nasdaq still churning up. Yeah, we got 13 minutes before ISM services data. I think that data might move markets a little bit more than it normally does, just because we don't have other jobs data to look at. The thing about gold is very close to all-time highs. Like, here's all-time highs on gold right here. All-time highs right there on gold. Very, very close. Salesforce denies platform compromise amid reports of customer hacks. Again, S&P Global Composite PMI 53.9. Services were higher too. Markets are very flat this Friday. Yeah, stocks firmer and thin. Delay payrolls, ISM services data coming out. We'll see what that looks like. I hope it's good, man. But I don't know what the market wants right now. I think stronger services might actually make people fearful of less rate cuts. I don't know for sure. But you got to be careful for that dynamic, I think, as well, just based off of market wanting rate cuts. This is some of the only data we have. And so again, ISM services. ISM services expect at 51.8. Previous of 52. Live here at 10 a.m. Markets are slowing down a little bit. Very sideways range here for a lot of stuff. And a lot of people pricing in a longer term government shutdown. Snapchat. Snapchat's kind of been struggling though. Wait. I'm curious to see if gold tries to break all-time highs. It's so close right here. I would assume it does. The question is how much does it pull back into that? ECB member says rather than softening bank regulations, we should make sure that those areas of the financial system that pose new risks to the economy and banks are regulated appropriately without stifling innovation. Thoughts on PayPal? I'm actually in PayPal, believe it or not. Read a little bit on the remaining position, but I think I took profit when it was up a lot, so I'm in it. I don't know what it's going to do. Eight minutes until ISM services. Yeah, maybe ISM services is the big push today. I don't know. Canadian PM Carney is going to make working visit to Washington. NASDAQ pushing up. NASDAQ up, elevated here. ISM services data in 6 minutes. 6 minutes, 6.5 minutes. Let me get a timer up here just so you guys can see it. And maybe this is the main event this week since we don't have any other data here aside from jolts. You guys think ISM services will be more volatile than it normally is? Look at the NASDAQ falling back down. Very tight range this morning. Tesla still dipping. You have ISM services today. 5 minutes. PayPal's up a lot today, so I'm actually green on my PayPal position now. Unknown? Yeah. All right, guys, we got less than 5 minutes here. Again, check out Top Step. You want to help support the channel. Great way to learn how to day trade. We've been a little light day trading today. Honestly, I haven't had the best results, but that's how it goes half the time. 60% of the time, I'm right every time. But yeah, if you want to check them out, great way to learn. Most day traders lose money. Just to clarify, you'll probably lose regardless of where you go, what course you take, who your mentor is, all that stuff. But it's a lot cheaper to test your skill this way than funding your own account and losing thousands of dollars doing that. You'll still probably lose, but $50 a month to get started with Top Step. It's not the end of the world if you fail it. Versus putting 2 or 3K in an account and losing that. Most day traders lose, right? So this is just a way to limit your risk. It's kind of risk management in the beginning when you're learning how to day trade. Everybody that day trades thinks they're going to be some like super rich guru, but most of the time that's just not how it goes. And you can limit your risk this way. Check them out. They're a sponsor of mine. I'm biased, but this is genuinely useful. Understand all the stuff on screen. Can't guarantee anything. Not an investment professional. But yeah, we will see what happens. Here we got about 3.5 minutes left. Palantir dipping. Palantir's at 180s, bro. Like, this thing is going crazy. You know, look, if you zoom out on Palantir here, just for everybody at home, right? Palantir is allowed to drop a day. Like, look at it. Look at a yearly chart here. Y'all are literally talking about this. You know? Does that mean Palantir's done? I don't think so. Yeah, ISM services coming out. I'm 90% sure ISM services does. Let me make sure. Look dumb over here. I'm pretty sure ISM manufacturing came out, right? So I'm pretty sure ISM service is coming. Yeah, ISM service is still expected to come out this week. ISM is private independent, yeah. So it's coming out still. 2.5 minutes. What is what chart? Yeah, nice, Tony. Yeah, we're reporting ISM services, of course we are. All right, here we go. 2 minutes. All right, here we go. Minute and a half. HSBC says gold can trade above $4,000 an ounce. Near-term geopolitical risk, fiscal uncertainties, and threats to Fed independence. Yeah, I think so too. I agree with HSBC on this. All right, guys, here we go. About a minute left. About a minute left. Less than a minute. All right, here we go. 30 seconds roughly until the ISM services data comes out. I don't know if this is going to move the markets more since we don't have payrolls, labor, government jobs data, or in the government shutdown. I don't know if this is going to move markets more since, you know, we have less options. This timer's a little bit early. We got about 15 seconds left, 10 seconds, 20 seconds. But I don't know if this is going to move markets more. I think it's possible it does. Let's see. All right, here's the report in 3 seconds. Make sure you hit the live button next to the play button as well. And ISM services, 51.8 expected, 50 even. 50 even for ISM services. 50 even for ISM services. Again, 50 versus the expected. What did they expect to go up? 51.8. Previous of 52. And ISM services is out. NASDAQ does not like this week's services report. But ISM services is out again. It showed 50 versus expected 51.7, 51.8 or so. New order showed 50.4 versus previous of 56. Non-manufacturing prices paid showed 69.4. Data big on screen. Markets are falling on this report. So far, at least. Does the market hold here, chat? Yeah, NASDAQ originally reacted negatively to this report. I think it means earlier cuts, weaker jobs, earlier cuts potentially here, but it doesn't mean we're going to see that. I'm sure we're seeing yields fall a little bit on this report with weaker services. Not yet, though. They haven't really moved yet. No, yields haven't really moved yet. We'll see if they do. NASDAQ's down, though, so far. Gold's so close to the all-time high numbers too. Curious to see if we hit it. Apple dipping down though. Or if 25,000 is going to hold the NASDAQ up. Y'all just be careful. It's Friday here, guys. Y'all hear my dogs barking? New all-time highs? Not unreasonable. I mean, maybe we do. It's possible we do. All-time highs are not that far away from us, even with this week trend here. It's not that far. Gold just got bumped all the way back down. A weird trend for gold. I'll show you guys this last gold trade that I'm in, but I'm going back and forth today. I think we're close enough to the bottom of the range and close enough to all-time highs on gold where a long makes sense. But I feel like I should hold it longer term. Not necessarily wrong, Marco, but gold can go up with just uncertainty in general. A lot of the time, gold actually moves with macro markets. So it depends on the nature of things. Again, I like gold because it's close to all-time highs and it's close to 4,000. I've been trying to play that dynamic up a little bit, but NASDAQ right here. Yeah, it's Friday. Y'all be careful today. Again, we don't know what's gonna happen. I'm kind of flat on this gold position. I want to let you guys see what happens to it, but it's so small, man. So consolidated right now. You see the range of the last 10 minutes. Hey, y'all be safe. I appreciate the love. Again, y'all check out Top Step one more time if you want to help support the channel. No PDT ruin futures. Great way to learn. Most day traders lose money. And again, like, trust me, most day traders lose. I thought I was going to be rich. And I mean, I'm certainly not struggling, but I thought I was going to be rich from trading, and that definitely didn't happen. If we take a look at the ISM report, I guess it depends on how you context. Wealthy from trading, but I'll see. Again, I'll put the link up one more time. They're a sponsor, I'm not unbiased. I'm going to get out of here. As soon as I close this stream, it'll bring you to our next stream. I'll probably just set a risk level under 3,900s, right around here. Yeah, I think that makes sense. I'm just going to set a risk level right here. So yeah, guys, I'll see you guys later. Y'all be good. Have a great day. As soon as I close the stream, it's immediately going to bring you to Monday's stream. So y'all sit around, wait for that one. That's what I expect. High standards here, guys. High standards. Y'all be safe. We're almost green in this position. Maybe I'll let that whirl a little bit, but question is, does the government stay shut down into the weekend? I think the next time their meeting is Monday. Lagarde says that the euro area showed more resilience than anticipated. Let me see if there's got any other breaking news here. Yeah, I think we're good. All right, guys. Yeah, I'll let you guys know what happens. Y'all be safe. I'll see you guys later. Have a great weekend. Be safe.